Should be an absolute cracker tonight. The balls are racked and ready to rumble in the ultimate pool pairs cup. That is Scott Gillespie and Sean Storey, but it is not they who get to kick us off tonight. It's Danny Balshaw with the big break incoming. And that is a big break. Gave him the setup, and somehow it has come up dry. You've got a feel for him there. So it's going to be Scott and Sean who get first look at this table. We've talked about all four pairs tonight. We will see all four of them play each other. So that means 6 matches in total this evening in Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup Group 8. Top of the group table after all 6 matches will make it through to the second stage. And it's a case of everyone playing each other. 2 points for a win, none for a defeat, but 1 for a draw. How do you draw in pool, you ask? Well, we've got a match clock in play, 20 minutes on it. You can see it ticking down at the bottom of your picture. And if we do get to 0, we will take the result as it is, even if it is level. 30-second shot clock to kick us off tonight. Once we tip into that final 5 minutes on the match clock, it will be a 15-second shot clock. I'm sure plenty of you well familiar with the format by now, but just in case, always worth a reminder. Sean and Scott are looking at reds here. Pot your red balls, pot the 8 ball, win the frame. 4 of those wins the match, and they're in good shape to win frame 1.
We did talk about what their communication would be like, how would they work. They were pretty silent through the first couple of shots, but then discussed the route from here. The key really is the 8 ball. Need a good last ball to land nicely on the 8 ball, but it's also a chance that they should be taking. 2 top professional players should get out from this layout every time.
Yeah, 2 top players, but also 2 very familiar faces on the Ultimate Pool scene. Very au fait now with the match clocks, the shot clocks, experts in their fields.
It's a slightly loose positional shot. A little bit close to the cushion here. Could be slightly hampered where he puts his hand here as well. Should be okay, but just want to cue in. 2 shots ago, they wouldn't have wanted to be in this position. A bit of pressure here on Sean's Storey, but more to do with his making on 2 shots ago than it was the shot that Scott played, because it's all he could do. And it's slight deceleration there as well. Cue ball got completely wrong. You can see the cue ball, there was no acceleration through the ball, just did not come backwards.
So Scott Gillespie needs to bail his partnership out early on here. Almost looked like he changed his mind on the shot a little bit there, Sean. Can't do that.
I don't particularly like the route they picked out, in all honesty. Just, obviously, if they get it right, it's going to be a foul, then, they make it look really easy. But I actually thought that, I like that the ball they were looking to be the last ball was the one that Sean potted previously. But leaving the one up the table wasn't a good connector to left centre. I think if they cleared the ones at the top and then the 2 at the bottom, they could have got onto the left centre from low, and then they could have got straight in on the one to the bottom corner as they were planning to.
Clearly see, apologies, so you can clearly see there the foul in pretty crystal clear slow motion. Yellow first, then the red, and that means that is a foul. Cue ball in hand anywhere on the table for Danny and Dave, and even though the little breakout shot they played along the top cushion hasn't quite worked for them, they were in pole position to play a nice easy snooker and make things very, very difficult for Sean Storey. Well, a little giggle there from Sean. I think he can quite believe the shot that he's played. Far from the most auspicious of first frames from Mr. Storey, it must be said.
Quite a demoralising first frame, really, because sort of meant what I said. I think if they were both playing singles frames at that chance, I would be shocked if either of them didn't get out. Playing a Scotch together, just got themselves a little bit lost. A loose positional shot maybe from Sean and obviously the D-cell, but it was definitely a chance that they should have taken out, and that could set the tone. How often do we see the first frame of the night set the tone?
Yeah, agreed. A simple 8-ball for Dave McNamara, who will not be missing this. See there, the three pals have come on down from McNamara's club up in the northwest. So here we go, Dave McNamara versus Scott Gillespie. Dare say there'll be some kind of dinner on this. It's usually the bet between those two on all manner of things. It's actually very rarely when they play each other.
Really harsh in off this one for Deej.
He turned immediately to Scott as well, who gave him no change whatsoever. Goobsy all business.
Interesting layout, this one. It really is. It looks a lot easier than it is. Reds are a lot easier apart from the red on the left-hand side, which is a slightly tricky ball. Yellow's probably easier to clear if you can get into them, but they're still not easy. Scott's definitely getting his confidence back from where he was a year or two ago. Played some brilliant pool this year when we've seen him. Largely disappointing way to bow out of the Players' Championship recently after a brilliant performance when we got to see him, and then losing out to Declan Brennan pretty emphatically in the next round, which wasn't televised. It looked like he'd be a potential tournament winner, and then kind of it ran away from him very quickly. But every time I've seen him play this year, he's looked brilliant.
Yeah, he's back in title hunt, isn't he?
Yeah.
And we know from covering an awful lot of this sport that you can just put yourself in the position, unless your name's Tom Cousins, that's the obligatory but everyone else, if you're playing great, you've just got to wait for your chance to win the tournament and hope that it will come eventually and the odds pay off. It's a lovely shot there by Goobs to open everything up. But Scott now feels comfortable and confident that he's in tournament winning form, and that's really all you can do. You can't do anything specific to win a tournament because sometimes you're just not allowed to.
Yeah,
again, caveat being, unless your name's Tom Cousins.
Yeah, feels like Tom's been quite quiet this year, yet he's still won 3 titles. That's what we're talking about, which is more than anybody else. John McAllister's won a couple. Declan Brennan's been in 4 finals, winning just the one of them. Scott Gillespie's been in 1 final this year, lost out to Tom Cousins, who found some inspired form at the back end of the British Open.
Good finish this from Goobs.
Yeah, created his own problems earlier on in the visit, but he's recovered them well. Which is what Scott has always done so well in his career.
Easy enough. It's a lovely visit to the table from Scott Gillespie. God, that's a huge break. You just can't believe that's dry. Really flush these. It's a heavy contact with the pack.
And that's another thing we've seen from Scott Gillespie, is his form's improved, his break is improved with that form. So he's cueing better, getting through the ball better. actually thought, as well as Scott Gillespie's been breaking, I actually thought they'd go with Sean on the break. He hit his first cut break so well, got that 8-ball in motion. I thought that they'd stick with that. That shot there's just tied the 8-ball up a little bit. So work to do in this visit. Come through here, see what they're talking about. D just literally pointing where he wants to be.
Yeah, now it's 8-ball time.
Yeah, but not guaranteed to be nice on the next ball.
I quite like the thinking though, because you leave a ball at both ends of the table as sort of insurance on that shot.
I'm sure he was playing one cushion into the 8-ball there, and if he gets the 8-ball full, then he's on the one to bottom right, thin, with a natural angle to go up the table. Gets it slightly wrong, there's every chance to be on the one at the top of the table. So it worked out really well for them, and that's a beautiful shot from Danny.
Yeah, how well has he played that?
Might have to play the cannon here. Ooh, does it go? Does it go top right? Half a pocket maybe. If he has to go top left, it's a tough shot. Very tough shot. There you go. There isn't much pocket. He's going top left. And he's not going to get it.
That was a much, much tougher shot. And you can really feel the presence of the 15-second shot clock making itself heard in this frame. 15 seconds a shot, you'll hear most players talk about, yeah, it's not too bad actually, until you get some kind of problem. And then it really doesn't feel like very much time at all. This is a gamble. There's no easy line here, but it's still a gamble all the same. Deej reckons he can Zorro this across the top of the table. He's not far off. That's why it was a gamble. I must admit, I wasn't in love with the choice from Team Gillespie and Story, but this still needed some executing from Dave McNamara, and he has judged this to absolute perfection. Beautiful, beautiful work. They think it's unlikely one team's going to win all three. They think the group will be dead tight. That's what they're here for. I love that attitude. That is a belting break. Richard Gifford wants the 8-ball. He's not getting it. Zach Shepherd on the break, I should say. Apologies.
Yeah, you should always be able to tell that he's got such a unique style on the break, the way he uses his cue to work out exactly where the cue ball goes, the same every single time he breaks.
He has been showing us, as he mentioned at the start of the show, some of his best stuff recently, Zach Shepherd, but in the interim, until he's shown us said best stuff, he's usually pretty good value for something outrageous. He's really got a habit of finding mad finishes and shots. Every time he shows up, he loves the big stage.
He does love the big stage. He had some moments in the World Team Shootout, which is the last time we saw him play here on our Monday nights, and we obviously ended up being brilliant for them. They went on and won the title, but he had his own moments within that, good and bad. But in the World Championships itself, some good runs individually, but played well for the team.
Both these two know each other through playing for the Welsh national team, who were World Team Shootout champions. You saw that on your Monday nights. Oh, what are we talking now? Best part of 5-6 weeks ago.
Sort of snuck up from nowhere, really. I don't think anyone was really tipping them at the beginning of the night, and they kind of just got stronger and stronger as the night went on. And it was a brilliant occasion. Prime position here just to get out and make it a nice clean kill here in the opening frame. Just be careful here for Rich. Just make sure you don't move the 8-ball. 8-ball makes it a big pocket, but you just don't want to nudge it onto the cushion. There you go. And you've got all the room in the world. Very smooth. Oh, I thought that 8-ball was dragging for a second, but the cue ball is.
I mean, how's that cue balling off there?
Feels harsh.
It's a wild, wild break this. He gets so much action.
Yeah, it really rips it. There's a lot of screw on the ball. Four minutes left, so it's not just a case of run the clock and win here. You're gonna, if you go for the game, go for the finish, you're gonna have to make it, and it's far from a guarantee. That's okay. Not perfect, but okay. Now the yellow is just moved. Does that go top right? I wonder if you go bottom left and hold it for top right. I suppose you want to play into the 8-ball anyway, so you might as well. While this one goes, that helps.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, they're on the one on the left-hand side. Where they've moved the 8-ball to, they want that to be their last ball. If he plays this one now, which he probably should, then you're going to have to get a really good positional shot to get onto the 8-ball. Oh, I'm not going to get that far.
Wow, wow, wow. A grimace rather than a smile from Zach Shepherd. Trying to pinch a little bit there, got a bit too cute.
Does the red there next to go in the left centre? If it does, this is fine. If it doesn't, this is tricky. The way they've played that, it must do. Not sure what they're playing on afterwards though.
He's dropped that as delicately as he dared, really, Joe O'Connor.
Now they're playing the loss of turn. So they're potting that to get themselves into position to play the loss of turn. They weren't playing on the one on the left-hand side, which you see there from the overhead looks really awkward into left centre.
Yeah, I like that choice. Pretty decent shot though from Richard Gifford. 1:46 and ticking left on this clock.
Yeah, a lot going on here. Another safety. It's not a good one. It's not a good safety. Chance here for the Welsh pairing.
That could be costly. Zach Shepherd muscle this cue ball down the table.
Couple of misses now from Zach.
That was a massive chance, you know.
It really was.
Reese has decided now is the time to go.
Oh no.
But that was tight. We talked about how tight that was. Don't blame him for playing it, but it wasn't easy.
Even if they don't get on the 8-ball nicely here, they're going to chew up 30 seconds of clock. But they are on the 8-ball nicely. That miss from Reese is going to cost them.
And you got to feel for Reese. He's only played a couple of shots in the entire match, and having a delicate fiddly one there, when you're far from feeling warmed up and all the rest of it, less than ideal. But a 3-1 lead for. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup. Reece Townsend and Joe O'Connor have stayed on. They were out there just a moment ago in defeat to Richard Gifford and Zach Shepherd. Here they are up against Scott Gillespie and Sean Story.
Good chance here in the opening frame. Cannon required on the first shot. We'll see how good a chance it is after this one. Yeah, not bad, not bad. It looked like it was going to be awkward, but that secondary little bump just to be on this yellow. They can now pick their route. Still looks very awkward. All three reds, all three yellows in the top half of the table are tied up. They all have pockets, but awkward to connect them together into those pockets. The reds are just in the wrong places. If they take the one nearest left centre, which is delicate, they can't really play on anything because the yellow nearest the break line doesn't go top right. They're taking this one, going into the red. A bit more moving happening here. Controlled though. Still not great because they're not on this. The one on the left-hand side is really, really awkward now.
Yeah, how do you get there?
Depends how they feel. If they can get the cue ball, they can take this yellow they're nearest to bottom right. They can get the cue ball somewhere near the break line on the right-hand side. Maybe use the red. It's going to be a thin clip, but that's going to be really, really awkward. And then the red plays huge in the middle of the table. It's just not nice. I just avoided the red, but gets to the same sort of area of the table I was talking about. Just to add to the tariff now being hampered queuing.
I think it's safe to say the partnership would want Joe on this shot. Well.
Trying to slide by it. Don't know if they're trying to come back up the right-hand side of it. There was no real benefit to go on the left-hand side of it. He put that in the side of the pocket, perhaps. Really awkward, though. Nowhere to go now.
Difficult to even see a pocket this yellow goes in.
Yeah, I think they originally were talking treble off the red, which is seriously high tariff. Now I think they're just looking at straight off the cushion off the red. But from here, really awkward to pick your line. Yeah, that wasn't actually that far away. And that red falling is huge for them.
Yeah, this all of a sudden now is a really tough shot for Sean and Scott.
That red stays on the table. I mean, they're big favourites anyway. You see that replay. If it glances the red at all, it goes in. It's one of those you can't hit that thick off the red. It just won't go, but glancing it like that, it was really, really close. With the yellow still going but the red not, makes it very awkward here for Sean and Scott.
And they'll continue to play the waiting game for now.
Looking at three cushions here. Not much yellow showing, but if they hit the yellow, they should make it. But if they hit the yellow and make it, they're probably not going to be on the 8 ball. A huge shot if they do that.
Worst result possible.
It's really tough to find the line, and that should be the end of the frame. Go about this layout a million different ways. Scott's still calling the shots here. So no, I want right centre.
Yeah, Sean did reference in their interview earlier on that it would be he who's happy to sort of slip into a slightly junior role, if you like, in the partnership. Scott taking on the team captaincy, as it were.
Interesting to hear him say that. I think Sean's a very clever player. I think he sees the game incredibly well. I think the one thing you'd say with Sean, having spent time with him and commentated a lot with him as well, is that really impressed with the way he sees the game. Sometimes he can get his cue ball just a little bit loose and it doesn't always match up with what he's seeing out there in his routes and his patterns. That's why you often see Sean having to make a few bigger shots here and there.
Big first frame for the third match in a row. This one won by Scott Gillespie and Sean Story.
Always dangerous.
Wow.
In it goes.
Bang. And the arena turns gold and Sean Story is all smiles. There it is. He has got form for that. So too Scott Gillespie, actually. Whoa!
His break's just got better the better he's played.
I think we'll call this break a Glasgow kiss. Bang!
Yeah, that is. I mean, Sean Story's just hit a golden break with a brilliant cut break. Yet when it comes to the Scotch frame, it's Scott Gillespie that's taking it, and that's why. He's been hitting the break like that for a while now. And this frame and this match could be over pretty quick. Half a positional shot to play, really. So you expect him to drop this in and play for the yellow right centre. Maybe he's got a touch too much angle for that, the way he's queuing up. And that was just to kill the cue ball. She's done well. It's absolutely perfect. If he's got the angle here, I quite like where he's pointed his cue there. I think if he plays on that ball or that area, he's on a choice of balls. Whereas Scott's asking for the other way, coming underneath it. He's got just a turn of angle. If he could have pulled it across for the yellow just to the right-hand side of the 8 ball, to bottom right, that would have killed the frame. That's where he's tried to get to, and he's a little bit short. Or he's listened to Scott and said, Scott, you put me on that one to bottom left. I think I preferred Sean's way of going, simply because I think Scott should put him on the one to bottom left comfortably enough, but then the other 2 balls don't connect together as well. Whereas if he'd come across an extra few rolls, got straight into bottom right, you're on that one to get onto the one right centre, and then the connections are absolutely guaranteed and certain. So I did like Sean's choice. Having said that, I still expect him to get out going this way.
If you're too far, we can stand through it because the yellow goes up in the opposite foot.
Overhits that one quite a bit. Put it in the thin side of the pocket. The reason why Scott should probably just take this long now. Takes it long, tops into the red or just past it. Still going to be frame and match. Well,
That was a long way off.
yeah. Good cue ball though for the state of the table. Big error though for a partnership as quality as theirs to not get out with a layout like that. Got themselves in a little bit of a mess. Cued that nice. Made a mistake in the last visit. Letting the cue ball run loose. Made up for it with that one. Still not easy for Scott Gillespie, but easier when you're 3-0 up and there's only 4 minutes left. Oh, played that beautifully.
Sean Story seals the deal. And Joe O'Connor and Rhys Townsend's race is run. They'll be back in round 3, but with no hope of qualification. Tough night for them, it must be said. The night may well yet only just be beginning for Sean Story and Scott Gillespie. Danny Walshaw and Dave McNamara back in the house. A cracking opening break. Gives them a good opportunity against Zach Shepherd and Richard Gifford. And a big opportunity for Zach and Giff here, because if they can get a win, boy does it put them in a good position.
Yeah, it certainly does. Control very much in their hands. Not the same for Deej and Danny, because if they win, they're in the same position as Scott and Sean. So they may, they could win the next 2 games and still end up in a 6-red shootout. Whereas the Welsh pairing, they win, they're in the driving seat. All about the red in between the 2 yellows here. Needs to be moved. They try and move it now, which I think they will. I think they have to. Not guaranteed to be on anything. And they're not in anything nice, I don't think. And went in with quite a bit of force. How big is the opening frame in these matches? And we're back there again, aren't we? Welsh pairing here should win this frame. Big discussion about it. But for me, you just drop this in, frame's there for the winning. Two yellows together. The left-hand one of the 2 would be the perfect penultimate ball for the one bottom right last ball, where you need to get yourself to the straight. To get that as the last penultimate ball, you need to get rid of the one to the right-hand side of it first. Could play the plant. Slightly awkward off angle from where they are now. So I'm assuming the one on the break line passes the other one to top left. Be nice if they could land straight in bottom left on the right hand one of the 2 together. That would be absolutely ball in hand perfect to make it routine. That'll do, that's fine. I'm surprised at this. I'd still take the one bottom left. Don't like that at all. When they play the plant, the yellow should go high, not by much, but meaning they're not guaranteed to have the angle on that ball then to get. Remember, they have to have a good angle on the last yellow, so I don't see why you wouldn't take the right hand one of the 2 yellows together on that previous visit. For a player of either of these 2's level, it would have been Rich's shot. It's all but unmissable, and it gave him complete control. Now you're playing on a moving ball. Really, really strange for me.
Yeah, less than ideal, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, they may well still get out here, but...
Look at the grimace on Rich's face as they're walking around.
Yeah, but... Sometimes it's about making your life easy. The more jeopardy you inject, the more likely of making a mistake. Richard Gifford, though, has played a fantastic shot there. But say that's a 9 out of 10 shot, it should have been a 10 out of 10 shot. To your point, Si. And the 1 out of 10, they don't make it, they don't get out.
Yeah, I mean, they made hard work of what they were absolutely perfect, and then they made hard work of it. It was a surprising choice, but they've still won the frame, and that's all that matters. Good shot that from Zach. It was obviously using the cushion, but we knew that he was going to make it the way it was set up, using the red as well. Okay, he would have been like to have been maybe a ball or two lower here, but he always wanted to be high on this yellow at the bottom of the table. Makes the pot harder, of course, but you want to track back to the middle of the table. Yeah, he had just too much angle, which meant actually too much angle because the middle of the table is all he wanted, and he would have tracked too far up. This has got really mixy, this frame, isn't it? Both pairs, or both partnerships and both players in this frame have been trying to have a dig, but it won't come out nice for them.
Once again, it's a little bit of good news and bad news. Yeah, you've made the plan. Next shot might be even harder. It's getting closer to the winning line. I'm still not sure who's going to cross it first, mind.
It won't come out nice for either of them, will it? It's really awkward, this frame. I sort of feel like Zach probably should have got over the line in it already. Probably had the better of the chances. Never been nice.
Oh, that's a great shot.
It's still not good though, is it?
Of course it isn't.
Tricky.
But this is what I mean. This is where Zach Shepherd thrives. These are the sorts of finishes that he just pulls out. Genuinely, knowing him, would not be surprised for him to pull this one out of the fire. But it would be ridiculous. Oh, it's not a bad effort. It's still not nice for Dave.
No, but he's big favourite to win the frame now.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. He just has to win the frame. It doesn't make this the last frame as well. Doesn't matter if he wins it. He's not going to win it in this visit. But just, is it worth pushing the boat out?
Well, he seems to think yes. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure he gained too much from potting that ball. Could have played this shot before, or a version of. Don't get me wrong, Zach's still in a world of trouble, but he can fudge away here.
I think the problem is for Zach, he's still massive second favourite for the frame. And the 3:20 left is actually still loads of time for Deej here. He will get an opportunity to win this frame, and when he does, that might be it. Might be the last frame played in the match.
Well, when Zach missed that big plan, I think he'd have taken coming back to the table with this to go at.
That's it. That's it. Deej
But that
got the
will be
chance
that.
now.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to come at some point.
Yeah, calculated gamble from Deej. .225 and ticking left on that match clock. It will be a factor in this match. I feel like Dave's deliberately playing for the beat, so he's looking to take a bit of time out of it.
Yeah, he is. It's going to be the Welsh pairing to break in the next frame. That's why.
Well, a massive frame to win for the Balshaw-McNamara duo. In terms of wins, it doesn't matter when that's gone in. It shouldn't do, at least.
17 seconds left. They ran to the table hoping to do something quickly and then took an age to play their first shot.
Yeah, Giffey did a lap.
Yeah. Sure if there was a yellow still moving there. I think it had just stopped.
So that will do it. Dave McNamara and Danny Balshaw have put themselves right in the mix here, and it is all to play for as we go into the final round of fixtures. Three teams still in the hunt when we return. Scott Gillespie and Sean Storey, Dave McNamara and Danny Balshaw, and duo of Richard Gifford and Zach Shepherd. All three can qualify. This match is massive, as two of the three play each other. So Sean Storey and Scott Gillespie would ordinarily come into this match as favourites, but pairs pool is a little bit different. Sean didn't get all of that cut break, I think it's fair to say, but, and it is a big but, he's made a ball and he's at the table, and therefore he doesn't really care all that much. This group is wide open. Scott and Sean drew their first match, they won their second, so they're feeling in a pretty good mood right now, let alone the fact that they're at the table first. For Richard and Zach, we've just seen them lose a tight one, but they did win earlier on. So a win here would take them above Scott and Sean and eliminate Scott and Sean. Scott and Sean, in theory, can eliminate Richard and Zach with a draw, but that opens them up to be attacked by Dave McNamara and Danny Balshaw. The safest thing either of these two can do is win. It is a must-win match for both.
Yeah, I think Sean and Scott would have really liked to see this Welsh duo get something out of that last match. If they could have stolen a draw away, then they'd be playing this match essentially with control in their own hands, win it and they're through. But if they win it, they're guaranteed worse weight, 6 red. And they ramp the pressure up as well, which is huge. But they have to win, as you say. And opening frame, always important, and they got the chance here. Nice cue ball, that one from Scott, just had to avoid both reds.
See that? A little bit of coaching from Sean Story. Give him a 10-second warning. Having an extra pair of eyes and ears out there on the shot clock, invaluable.
Slightly surprised by their choice, actually. I thought they'd go left centre there, leave themselves straight in top right, and the one they've just played, they'd then be able to play that with loads of angle and just slide across the underneath of the 8 ball. Now they're going down the table. There's every chance they leave themselves an awkward angle. Straighten up, great. Yeah, it is slightly awkward angle here. Not quite enough angle by the looks of things. If it goes an extra 2-3 rolls up, it's better. They were okay, just okay. Could get right behind the 8 ball, but this is fine. You take this for any frame of ball.
Sean Story is tasked with knocking it in. And in it rolls, 1-0. I'd say Scott has a more sort of unique style. I would. Oh, 8 ball.
There we go.
Oh, wowee. Well, never mind the first frame. Second gold, the golden break of the night. And it's come for Richard Gifford. Watch this, 8 ball barely moved. And then gets a very, very friendly kick into the bottom corner.
Try again. That came out of nowhere, didn't it, to be fair?
And as you just heard Sean say, it came out of nowhere, and yeah, it really did. I think it's safe to say Scott's style at the table and the way he picks his patterns is probably on the more unique side.
Well, I think what's happened with Scott over the years is obviously back in 2019 before the pandemic he was in the conversation for the best player in the world, if not regarded by most as the best player in the world at that moment. But he's come into Ultimate Pool and been low on confidence for the majority of his 4 years with Ultimate Pool. And I think what happened, and we don't really talk about it too much when it comes, you think about low in confidence, low in form is execution, but I think his patterns were all over the place. I think he was so low on confidence, he wasn't seeing good finishes. He was always causing himself a problem, making it worse. And what we've seen is, as his confidence has improved and he's got better, he's started to find much better patterns, much better routes. But I'm still with you. He always finds routes where he'll back his potting and his ability to make shots, rather than some of the guys we talk about as the greats ever of patterns would kind of looking for that one shot that makes it absolutely simple and routine, and you can't make a mistake.
Yeah, I just think of an archetypal Scott Gillespie 8 ball, and it's sort of 3/4 length to the table, 3/4 ball pumped into the bottom corner pocket.
Yeah,
that's the shot that he'll choose to leave himself pretty comfortably.
He likes punching balls. He likes to really hit the ball with authority. He's never worried about getting close to his work or anything like that. But definitely think he's a player that he's made the game easier for himself the better he's played, which is sounds strange, but his confidence in his patterns has improved with it. And
the very best Scott Gillespie can take out all the finishes, but if it's nip and tuck and it's tight and all the rest of it with the cue ball and not much space at all, he can hang with the best of them when he's on his game. But when he's not been on his game, those are the finishes that sort of have made him look not like the player he is over the past few years. But you've seen sort of this year that little bit of sparkle return, and all of a sudden he's back to his best and he's starting to take out all the finishes.
Yeah, what happens is you get a little bit low on confidence. You kind of not wanting to leave yourself those sort of mid-range shots that make the finish guaranteed. You try and get too close to your work, gets awkward, and all of a sudden you get back into your finish and you're having to pull out a magic shot to try and win a frame of pool. And Scott got himself into way too many of those situations over the first 2.5, 3 years with Ultimate Pool. That's why we got, it's a bit of fluke here from Zach, not one that he really wants, because these are horrible. I think that's why I got so excited, because I'm a huge Scott Gillespie fan. When he won the Masters a year or so ago. He did that without, in my opinion, finding his absolute best game. He played brilliantly on the finals weekend. He did. When it got tight down the stretch, it got a little bit trickier, as it does. You know, winning titles isn't easy. But when he lost in the final to Tom Cousins in the British Open, what, 3-4 months ago now, I thought the way he played through the whole tournament was fabulous to see. He looked like he was making the game look easy again and playing some brilliant stuff. And, okay, he got pipped in the end by Tom, just finding half an hour of magic at the right time to win the title. But the way he played in that whole tournament was brilliant, and that was so good to see.
Yeah, agreed. Zach Shepherd here on yellows has got a big problem. And I don't know, he's not filling me confidence that he's got a way to solve it there. He looks rather stumped. Richard Gifford has come forward with some suggestions.
Yeah, he's losing this tactical exchange. The fluke hurt him. He didn't want to make it. That's one ball off the table, and then Scott's trying to take his balls off the table as well. I think that's the other thing that comes with confidence. Confidence in the belief to win a tactical exchange to then make a finish. When you're low in confidence, you probably chase a little bit more as well. Scott knew when he may have made a ball off the break in this frame, but it was far from a decent opportunity.
And Scott is not going to go anytime soon here. He knows he's got plenty of equity in this frame. He's got, what, 6 reds on the table to Zach's 4, and it is a numbers game in a tactical exchange like this.
He wants Zach to go as well. He's teasing him. There was no effort to get the cue ball safe. He's just bumping his red into play, and he's saying, "Come on, Zach, you take these on." And if Zach clears up here, all credit to him. But Scott Gillespie wants him to try, because it's a super low percentage finish, and he wasn't trying to pot that one as well.
Yeah, that was such a strange shot. Because I agree with you. I don't think he was trying to pot it at all. But if you're not trying to pot it, that was such a bad attempt at not potting it.
Yeah, if you're not trying to pot it, don't even leave it over the pocket, because that doesn't help you either. You just clip off it and leave it as far away from the pocket as you can.
Yeah, strange choice of shot that from Zach. He's almost forcing himself into going here and falling into Scott Gillespie's trap. He didn't want to pot that either. This is extraordinary.
That's 3 times in this frame he's potted a ball when he's tried not to. It's quite incredible. It really is.
That's amazing. But I'm with you, like, if you're not trying to pot it, don't get it close.
Yeah, because you don't want it over the pocket. Your balls over pockets do not help you in international 8-ball rules.
In the end, just tried to make it a bit messy. It's not going to really succeed in doing so. Scott may not be able to go now, but he will eventually.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the clock and just monitor things.
Frame completely in the Scotsman's control right now.
Anything you would say is keep an eye on that clock. They don't have the next break. So the amount of time they leave, the amount of time he leaves, is quite important. That may be quite good. 2 reds, maybe a plant with the yellow now. Quite good for Scott Gillespie, that is, not so much for Zach Shepherd. Oh, and a foul's been called. Have another look here. It doesn't hit a cushion. Obviously very difficult to tell from the replay. I think Scott may be looking at the plant here. Red, yellow into right centre. Really taking it to Zach. Brilliant shot. Acknowledged by Sean Story. So that's 2 times in this frame that Scott Gillespie has been able to get the yellows off the table, playing as a loss of turn, hitting his red first and making the yellow. keeping all of his on the table. Just he's in complete control of this frame. Now it's just a case of deciding how he wants to try and win it. Helps him if those two reds remain as a plant into the corner. If they're an absolute certainty, when he gets cue ball in hand again, which is likely, then it may be time to go. If they are a plant, these two reds, then let's actually try and get solid contact and make something happen. Yeah, hit it firm. Doesn't get the contact. Even if the two reds aren't a plant, he could play a controlled cannon. Never going to miss the first pot, and the yellow will remain in a safe area of the table. And they were a plant. Should play the bottom one here, and that'll be the work done in the frame.
Now wiped its feet, that one, didn't it?
Yeah, you felt that was the only way that Zach Shepherd was going to get a chance, missing that ball. And I think when Scott hit it, I think he thought he'd missed it. Just caught it a touch on the thick side. Was never going to leave a nice shot on the yellow, but where Zach's been in this frame, which has been torture for him, would have been hit and hope double. This has been all but a perfect frame of ball from Scott Gillespie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been necessarily the greatest to watch in terms of spectacle. It's been patient, it's been nitty-gritty, but in terms of how to win a frame from a difficult scenario, it's been an absolute exhibition, this from Scott Gillespie. He's made all the right decisions.
The only thing I'm going to be critical of him here is he's running the clock down. I don't think he needs to. I don't think he should. He might need that time. Chooses not to on the 8 ball.
Three shots, 45 seconds, isn't it, on top of this? So we'll do it to nothing.
Yeah, just Sean saying it. 3 shots left here, 2 pots, and then a safety probably. So that's what, 35, 40 seconds. So it's pretty much done.
Drop it in, because they were going to leave you 15 seconds wasting spot 4 balls.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Here's Sean talking about it. He's very, very good at the clock management. And if he plays this shot and just holds the white pretty much where the yellow is, he's not going to leave a pot on the red and leave them 15 seconds. Oh, makes the double for good measure.
That will do it. That will do it. Secures the win for Autopilot and Goobsy, and they have done what they must. We go to the last match of the night with it all in the balance. We may still yet see a 6-red shootout. Here we go. Rhys Townsend and Joe O'Connor trying to play spoiler. Danny Bolshaw and Dave McNamara itching to qualify from this group, and they still can. Sean Storey and Scott Gillespie hold the aces. They currently sit 2 wins and a draw. Dave McNamara and Danny Bolshaw are 1 win and a draw. The maths is simple. Must win. And if they do that, they will see their old mates again from match number 1, which finished level. And we'll have a 6-red shootout.
Nothing's really got going here for the Leicester duo. They've got a good chance here in the opening frame. They may be eliminated, but they'll still be trying very hard out there. Yellow goes top right. That gives them access to the 2 yellows left centre. trickiest thing about this finish here actually could be the yellow over the bottom right-hand corner, which will be last ball now. Playing position onto the 8 ball from it. Depends if they can get down. If they get down to the bottom cushion, it's really simple. But if they have to play that from high, then it's tricky. And they should be able to get down to the bottom cushion. Take the left-hand one of the 2 now. Depends what the natural does, but as long as they don't naturally drift behind the reds, they may have to use the reds, but being high on the yellow to right centre is perfect to just drift down bottom cushion, which as we know would be perfect. Oh, that's lovely. Good shot from Reese. Little bounce just to make life easier. It's about as awkward as it could have been actually coming down. Once you get maybe an extra turn or 2 up the table and you made it absolutely certain. Can you just drop it in dead weight? Yeah, pick the pocket. Nice.
Is the perfect start for the team that really don't need a perfect start. But Joe O'Connor and Reece Townsend came here to win tonight. It's not gone their way. So at this stage, it's about restoring a little bit of personal pride.
Oh, 8 ball's flying. 8 ball. To go in.
Certainly on the move, wasn't it?
Yeah, got that secondary kick just to really fire up the table. Bang. Just for a second there, you're thinking, oh, is there going to be a ball near the right centre to nudge it in? Nothing doing, but decent opportunity here, you'd say. Not a great opportunity. If the yellow squeezes past the 8 ball, the one sort of nearest to it, maybe even off the cushion off it, sort of opens everything up. You feel like there's a finish on the yellows. I'm not seeing the reds unless Joe feels like the 2 reds right centre are really easy to deal with. The one right under his arm now that you can see was the reason I preferred the yellows. Wonder, does it drop in? If it drops in, then reds are good, because he can drop this in, get on the one to bottom left, and then that one does connect to the other one to right centre. And he doesn't have to be on an angle where he can play into the yellow to leave right centre, right centre. He'd be just as happy playing the last one top right corner. Yeah, he'll just have to hit the gap now.
Well spotted, that was the plan all along. There's not much room there, but there's enough room. Yeah, required a very precise finish. This was high tariff.
Yeah, high tariff, but when you realise that ball goes, you can see the reason for reds. It's just back yourself to get there, which he did. It's all about being pinpoint. Slightly surprised he's taking this to the centre. I could only assume he's just off straight, so he wouldn't be on the 8 ball if he played it to the corner. I thought he was going to go top right and screw back. But
yeah, and the fact it was thin, but it was thick enough to hold, and you had a pretty sizable gap to target. And he's executed that finish beautifully. That was some seriously good 8 ball from Joe O'Connor.
No, I think this obviously an unnecessary error, but huge difference. That was going to be kicked in off as well.
Cue ball saved. Admittedly, it'd have been tough to go in off, but it was tracking.
It was tracking. Mind you, he hit the break well. He didn't deserve to go in off. And Joe O'Connor's got another really good chance for a break clearance. He's just made one 2 frames ago. So it's more pain here for Danny and David. If the 8-ball doesn't go bottom left, then he's going to have to hit the one at the top of the table nicely, and you can see there it doesn't go bottom left. Whenever he decides to go up for it, which I assume is last ball, he'll just have to play a good positional shot off it. That wasn't particularly the best positional shots. He goes down the left-hand side. He doesn't have much room to land perfectly. He gets short or straight, and you're going to have a tough job getting on the last yellow. He's short or straight. It's probably just about enough, but I don't think he can go underneath the 8-ball. If he has to slide by the top side of it, it'll be thin, but as we know, the 8-ball doesn't go down the table.
Oh, that's a good angle to show just how fine the margin was there.
Yeah, that's a better shot than it looked, actually.
Cue ball. You're joking. Wow.
You could see when the way he was lining up, he was trying to go top side of the red there, and he ended up going underneath it so much he went in off. And you saw how quickly that McNamara jumped out of his chair.
Well, this is a case of make sure, but you can also do it making sure in the most amount of time possible, I would suggest. Guaranteed to win this frame. 6 balls left. Best part of a minute and a half. Can be chewed here.
Yeah, they have the next break, as you say, so it's just a case of make sure of the clearance, but once you're absolutely certain, just run the clock down a little bit and essentially it's match done. It's quite an amazing turnaround here. They were absolutely nailed on to go 3-1 down, and here they are, staring at a 6-red shootout all of a sudden. It's worth running the beeps down here for the final couple of seconds each time. What will that leave? Just over a minute, so a dry break would leave Reece Townsend a chance.
So there you go, look. A minute left on the shot clock. On the match clock, I should say. And he's using every second. There we go. 59 seconds. 3-2 in front with the break.
Danny has been breaking well tonight. Big break on him. Oh, it's another brilliant break.
That'll do. Cue ball, cue ball. Ooh. That staying up might have just won them the match.
Yeah, he should have done. I think the yellow goes past the 8-ball here, so just pop 3 or 4 yellows. You don't even need to pop 3 or 4, just 2 will do. Okay, watching the clock. Sort of knows it's done, but also wants to sort of make sure.
Don't make a mistake.
It is done, though. It is absolutely. The only reason they can't win here is if there's a rush of blood and pots the 8-ball by flying the cue ball around the table, and that is not going to happen. What a turnaround.
Well, Danny and Deej will stay out there because it's 6 red shootout time. Joe O'Connor and Reece Townsend strike out in the Pairs Cup. They finish with 0 points after 3. But into the arena in just a moment will come Scott Gillespie and Sean Story. And now the question becomes, Si, who do you fancy for a 6 red shootout?
Sean will be poised. Good break.
Here we go.
Cue ball's running a little loose on the first shot, but drops it in as short as he can. Oh, one of the reds doesn't go. That makes a big difference. They're two awkward reds.
So much so, Sean tried to force something there. This is about not panicking and still putting in a good time. Little angle here if they want it. That was lovely. Quick thinking.
Oh, no.
Sean rushed that one. And this has quickly got away from Scott Gillespie and Sean Story. It's so easy to unravel when that sort of thing happens. It's close to 40 seconds. It doesn't take much for a 6-red shootout to manifest like that. 39.44 to beat. Just make sure.
Which Deej is doing. You see the extra couple of seconds there just to make sure. As long as they don't miss, they're gonna win this comfy.
Two pots away. And they can take their time. They've done it. Danny Bolshaw and Dave McNamara have secured passage through to the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup last 16. Absolutely brilliant win for them as they go through via 6-red shootout. Scott Gillespie and Sean Story fall just short, and you can see how proud these two are of that result, as they should be.